let's take a look at data acquisition. And I'm going to go into an appliance that I have created. This is Knoppix, and it's an older version of it. You get it up here, and then I'll talk about what Knoppix is. Okay. Now there's some Linux versions you can boot off of a CD. So you put it into the computer and you boot off the CD or DVD, and it'll go into that operating system. In that process, it will not touch the hard drive at all. A lot of times when you're doing some kind of forensics on a hard drive, you don't actually want to boot up the computer, because by booting up the computer, it makes changes to files. And if you've worked with evidence before, if you start making changes to evidence, then it's suspect about what you discover. This is an older version, like I say, Knoppix, but there's newer versions in this. I just didn't want to recreate it. Okay, now this is the screen that you should see come up if you extract this Knoppix appliance and run it. And I'm going to plug in my flash drive that I have now. It's a 512 megabyte flash drive, pretty small one. You don't want to have a real huge flash drive when you're creating this image. You can, but it's better to have a smaller one. And mine comes up here and says can be connected. Okay, and I'll say okay. Up here you'll see all the different items. You may have different items than me. Well, you will have different items than me here. And these ones that look like little hard drives, I believe that's what it looks like. That refers to our flash drives. It's like this says Toshiba USB flash memory. And if I right click on that, I can choose connect, or I can disconnect it. And this will be unplugged from the host to the main computer to allow me to access it via the virtual machine. It says first be stopped to enable safe removal. So I'm going to click OK on that. And you now see that the icon's different. I can actually see it. It's not grayed out. Now, after a period of time, and I'm not sure how long that'll be, you'll see it appear down here. And mine says hard disk SDC1. And if I click that once, it puts my focus in here, and it tells you to return to your computer. You press Control Alt. So if I click that again, it'll come up, and there's one file there. Maybe I want to make an image file of this flash drive. So I'm gonna use a old Linux command, and there's better ones out there, and there's tools that'll do this and so forth. I'm just gonna keep it pretty straightforward. Let me I keep in mind there's just one file, because we'll talk about that later on. And there we go. Okay, so let me minimize that. Now there's a window list here. If you click that, that's all your items you have open. And then this one looks like a monitor. That's our terminal program. So if I click that, it'll pop up to here. And I'm going to do a dd if input file equals /dev /sdd1 of equals, then the squiggly /test.img. Little squiggly mark right there. That's up in your upper left-hand corner below, next to your escape key. Little tilde. And then I'll just press enter on that. And I type something wrong. Error opening that. Let me try that again. /dev/ what was it? SDC1 OF equals tilde /test.img. I already got a test.img, so it should override it. I press enter, and it'll take a while to go off and process and create that file. And there's a newer version of this utility out there. You have to be careful of the format of this. This would not only allow you to write it to a file, but the utility is a lot more powerful than that. It'll allow you to write that to a separate drive. Now I had to play this command to get it to work right. Because at first, if I come over here and bring that up, notice what it says, /media /stc1. I was having some difficulty when I went there direct. I had to go to the definition under the dev file for it. Then I didn't have my syntax quite correct on this. One thing you'll find working with different commands in Linux is some of them aren't that straightforward what they're referring to. Okay, now notice that right here it says we got our tilde. Now if I just do an ls, you'll see your test.img. If I do an ls-l, then you'll see that let's see, there it is, January 18th. Time is wrong on this appliance, but other than that, you can see the size of it. It was a challenge to get this copied out of the virtual machine. I had great difficulty in that. I could have done analysis right in this virtual machine, find utility to access that, but I wanted to do it in Windows. And I tried first emailing it until I realized how big the file was, and I realized why my email was failing. And then I tried to go into Google Drive, and for some reason I couldn't get Google Drive to work on the two. These are old web browsers because this is an old appliance, but this Iceweasel web browser and this Conqueror web browser, probably if I had updated them to the newest version, then it would have worked. So then my idea was to download Chrome, and so I could use Google Drive. Well, I couldn't get Chrome to install real easily, and I didn't want to spend a lot of time on it. So finally, I just FTP'd it up to my own server and got it transferred that way. But again, it was a little bit of a challenge to get that transferred over. Okay, now we've created the image file, and so this is the flash drive, all the different files on it and so forth. If I do a Control-Alt, then I come up here, and I can click on this, right-click, and choose Disconnect. Now it'll disconnect it from this virtual machine, but then it'll connect it to the main machine. So if I do a disconnect, realize that even though I can't access it here, I can access it via the main machine. Okay, so now we've created our image file. We've transferred it to where we want it. And there's different programs. I'm going to go into Autopsy. So if I go into Autopsy, and this is not on the virtual machine. This is on my Windows machine. Now imagine what we're doing here. I've visited the machine. I've booted up on a CD of some version of Linux that doesn't alter the machine, that allowed me to image the file, image the hard drive. Probably a very easy way to copy that image file is if you had one of those little portable hard drives you plug in. Now here I'm going to say create a new case. And give it a test. I don't know what number I'm at. I played a little bit earlier. So let's say test 3. Click next. And you can put a case number down there if you have one. You leave those blank. Or examiner, you can put examiner in here. And click finish. And says select source type to add, and it's the image file I created. If I do the drop down, use local disk, logical files. But for the image files, I'll say browse. And this is the one I created earlier. This isn't the one I created in this video, but the one I created earlier today. And so if I choose that, and then you can do the drop down and see what all it supports. IMG files, DD, 001, AA, RAW, bin, in-case images, E01, and then click open. And just like the input time zone, you can put that in there if you want, and click next. And then I'll go ahead and click next through that. And data source has been added, and I'll click finish. Okay, and it'll bring up the file here. Now it's analyzing the files. It's coming down here, so I'll wait a few minutes. I realize that autopsy is not necessarily one that is accepted in legal situations. So you have to be careful about that. If you're planning on using some kind of tool in a court case, you have to use an approved tool. You can't just choose any one off the internet. It has to be one that is accepted in court systems. In-case is popular because it is an accepted one. But if you're working, you're just trying to analyze somebody's hard drive or somebody's flash drive, if you're working in a corporate setting, then it's not so strict on the requirements. And phone's ringing out in the other room, and it's still analyzing. 87%. Now, while that's working, I'll talk about different items over here. We got data sources, views, the results. I first started looking at this before it finished, and I may go ahead and start now because I'm getting I'm not sure how long it'll actually take to finish everything. Let's see, one task running, click for details. Okay, analyzing files. Okay, well, let me go ahead and start looking at it. This talks about different file types, so images, videos, so forth, documents. Now I showed you that there's just one file on that, but realize that the idea behind this is that it accesses deleted files too, and even partial files. As you delete a file and it starts getting overwritten, little fragments of that file still are out there. Well, if I click on plain text, here's the one file, and you see it doesn't have an X next to it. This is the one file that was on there, and if I click that, it comes up here, it tells you the type and so forth, metadata, and you'll read about the MD5 and why is that important in the textbook. And here's a string goes along with that, if there is one. And I'm too smart for you to ever find me. Just wanted to send this message telling you that. Signed a Donut Thief. And I actually copied that file over as another file earlier and then deleted it. And you see this, there's two of them here. Now realize that some of these files don't have anything in them. You can't think of this as like a normal window on your computer. A window of files, I should say. You know, if I click this, you may see something, but if I click this one, you may see there's no strings. There's nothing associated with it. Now I can right click on this, and I can click extract file, and then I could give it a different name if I wanted to, or click save. Now where this is saving it at, if I come back over here, when I created the case, test 3 I think it was, it creates all these folders, and you see there's an export, and here's the TXT. Now sometimes after you've exported it, you can open it up and see the information, and sometimes you can't, because again, sometimes the file is damaged. That's plain text. There's also some HTML ones out here, and I didn't even know I had these out here. This one right here, this is when way back when I created the first online course for the college in math, and these were similar problems I created, and this was the homework I had out there. I had even forgot I had these files. So if I right click this and say extract file, and I'll click save, you can also right click on it and say open an external viewer. Now that's assuming that there's a viewer associated with the HTML. So if I click open an external viewer, then this is the more or less, again, it puts some extra garbage in here. And I don't know why that is exactly. Unless the file's been written to, I think it would just show this data. Could be because it's a free tool. That could be the reason. But this is a file I had from way back when. Okay. And then you can come down here to the file size. Let's see, recent files. Well, that was recent. That was today, yes. But deleted files. This shows just the deleted ones. Now, when I go through this for in the file system, then some of these I tried to extract, but there's so little less left of the file that I couldn't play it, I couldn't view it, and so forth. So you have to realize that when you delete files and you start writing over it with new files, it'll damage parts of that file. But the idea of a good extraction tool will allow you to extract bits and pieces of that file. Okay, yeah, that's there. Click, collapse that. Come down here. Here's email addresses. And here's Richardson at Cali.edu. Has two. If I click it, I see one of them is a syllabus, and then here's a. I have no clue what that is, but obviously in that document, the syllabus document, I had this person's email address. They're the coordinator for disability services. Probably nothing interesting there. There's no email messages on my flash drive. Tags, see, there's nothing. Now, keyword hits. If I come up here, there's a keyword search, and if I type in mom, this will bring up all the occurrences of mom in the file. Now, when I say in the file, you see here in text, you see it's got mom highlighted there. Now, some of these may not be so obvious how they get the mom. Here's a TIFF file. I wouldn't think that would have mom, but I guess it did have mom right there. Font. You wouldn't think font would have it, but there it is. So it finds all occurrences of that. And then you can click that X to close that if you want to, and you can do another search. Type in algebra. You can do exact match, substring, regular expressions if you're in Linux. And finds this, I guess, was for elementary algebra. And that looks like a grade file. I won't open that up because probably has students' grades in there. But here's, so there's a lot of, this kind of tells the history of what you've done on that flash drive. So obviously I've kept grades on there, and kept the syllabus, kept some similar examples. So all different things you can help to investigate whatever you're trying to find out about the individual or about the hard drive. Now that's about all the exciting items I want to really show on Autopsy and creating an image file off of this.